Hi guys, Nishant here. In this tutorial, I'll teach you about different scope in PHP. In PHP, variables can be declared anywhere in the script. The scope of a variable is a part of the script where variables can be referenced or used. PHP has three different variable scope: local, global, and static. Now let's take a look at some practical example. So first of all, open your XAMPP control panel and start Apache and MySQL as I did. Open any text editor you want. I'm using Sublime. And I have already created three files: local, global, and static, and I have also added PHP opening and closing brackets. So what is local variable? A variable declared within a function has a local scope and can only be accessed within that function. So we are going to define a function and we are going to declare a variable within that function. So let's see what happens. So how to define a function in PHP? So let's define a function first. My mistake. So let's declare a variable x whose value is 5 and y whose value is 2. Both of them are declared locally, so they have local scope. I'm going to increment the value of x, so each time the function is executed, the value of x will be incremented. I'm again defining a function, a variable total, which is going to sum up x and y. Using echo, I am going to print total of x and y dot variable total, as we did in the previous class. Echo br for spacing obvious. So we have defined a variable within a function. So this is going to work. But what if we define this same variable outside the function? So let's take a look. I'm doing the same thing. So Control S, save it, go to localhost / folder name, it's tutorial / local.php. Total of x and y is 8. Undefined variable total in the destination folder on line 12. The total of x and y outside the function. See, as you can all see, we get the result for the variable defined inside the function, but we get an error for the variable defined outside the function because the value of the variable is already declared inside the function. That's the difference between local and global. So now take a look at how global works. In global, I'm going to define variable not within the function but outside the function. That's how it works. I'm also going to increment the value. I'm also going to define total variable outside the function. So here we can say that this is global scope. Now we will define a function. We are going to print the same thing. Dot total ending the function, then defining it outside the function again. So now let's save it and see what happens to global. Localhost tutorial global.php. See, it gives you error for using a variable within the function, but it does not give you error for using and calling the variable outside the function. That's the difference between local and global, because a variable declared within a function has local scope and a variable declared within outside the function has a global scope. So it can be accessed only from the outside, but the variable that has local scope can be only accessed within that function. So we already studied about local and global, but what is static? So when a function is completed or executed, all of its variables are deleted. However, sometimes we want a local variable not to be deleted because we need it for further job. To do this, we use static variable. Each time the function is called, that variable will still have the information it contained from the last time the function was called. So let's take a look at it. Now we are going to take a look at static. For static, we are going to define a function. And in the function, we are going to declare a static variable x. I'm going to define another variable, but it will not be static. So the scope of x will be static. going to increment x. So each time the function is executed, the value of x will be incremented. I'm going to define a function total that will sum them up. Echo to print the result. Dot total echo br for spacing. Now ending the function, let's see what we get. Control S. I'm sorry for this, it happens all the time. Localhost tutorial static.php. So the total of x and y is 2. Why? Because the static value of x is 0, is incremented to 1, so 1 plus 1 is 2. So if we execute the function one more time, let's see what we get. The total is 3. Why? Because from 1 the value of x will be incremented to 2, so 2 plus 1 will give you answer 3. So what happens if we increment the value one more time? The result should be 4 this time. So saving it and refreshing it, we get the result 4. So in this tutorial we learned about local variable, global variable, their differences, and also static variable. So that's all in this tutorial. Thank you so much.